If you get it right, I can tell you, in terms of the nutritional value of fish in Nigeria today, it's something that everybody buys. It's something that the market is there, whether it's dry fish, whether it's fresh fish, whether it's smoked fish, the market is there.
So today we visited one of the most successful catfish farmers in Rivers State. This man, Mr. Onyekachi, is not just successful but very experienced. So the questions you're going to be seeing, or I'm going to be asking in the videos, are very crucial questions for newbies, those that are still planning on going into fish farming, catfish farming, those that are even farming as we speak, and those that would like to go into it or something.
So you come to feed your fish and you carry a big basin of fish food and you dump inside. In fact, if you look on social media, you see where they're just dumping fish food into fish ponds. That's not the way to feed fish.
So if you would like to get into catfish farm, you're already into the catfish farming system, this video is definitely going to be helpful to you. Trust me, the video is an eye-opener. You will be definitely learning a lot and getting a lot from the video. Remember to like. If you have questions, you leave them in the comment section. You also share to your loved ones and people who might find the video helpful. Don't forget also to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell around there so that you get notified when next we drop a content. Now let's move into the video. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I have with me a mentor in the canine world who is also a very successful farmer. In fact, he has turned his passion for farming into a thriving business. We were speaking some time ago and he told me about his loss and how he was able to go through it. So I thought I'd bring him up to the channel so that he takes us through a very important topic a lot of people talk about, but very few have the experience and result to back up their advice and guide. And the topic is how to start a profitable business. His name is Mr. Onyekachi Omenuko, a very, very profitable, renowned and, should I say, veteran when it comes to agriculture and agribusiness. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
So, sir, the question is simple, or you'll be taking us through the process, the guide on how to start a profitable fish farm business in Nigeria.
Businesses have their ups and lows. So if you want to start, you first have to be sure that you're going to be able to weather the ups and lows of the business. Now, to start, you have to decide how far do you want to go. Do you want to go the full hog from fingerlings to table size, or do you want to go halfway from fingerlings to drying size? When you've made that decision, then you have to choose which of the two types of catfish, because we're talking about catfish here, which of the two types of catfish you want to do, either the Clarias or the Heterobonchus. They both have their pluses and minuses, but generally they have the very two types of catfishes that do very well in Nigeria. And if you handle them very well, the business becomes profitable. So when you've done all that, then you have to choose the siting of your ponds. Your ponds are important. There are three types of ponds. There are the earthen ponds, the one that you dig the ground and the fish are kept in it. So it's almost like it's in a natural environment. That's the earthen pond. You have the cement ponds like what we have here, which are the cement tank ponds. And then you have the tarpaulin ponds that are built with tarpaulin and stand on their tripods. So those are the three types of ponds. You have to decide which of those type of ponds depending on the area you have. The earthen ponds are good when you have a large area. The land is yours. It's almost semi-permanent, okay? The cement ponds are permanent, so the land has to be yours. You cannot go and put cement tanks on somebody's land or land that you leased or things like that. The easiest one is the tarpaulin pond because they can be dismantled at any time and moved to another location if you want to do that. So those are the 3 types. Then another thing you have to consider is the quality of the water. Fish react to water. When I say they react to water, they react to the acidity of the water. So if water is more acidic, it affects the fish, they die more. If it's less acidic, they survive more. So you have to do your water testing. And if your water pH is at about 6 points, between 6.5 and 7 or 8, your water is okay. If it's less than that, it's acidic and your fish will likely die. So those are the 3 major considerations you have to put in place before you start. Now, when you have those considerations in place, you now have to decide what quantity of fish you want to do. For instance, in this, my farm, I do between 25 and 30,000 fishes because I've made provision to be able to do that. If you don't have this kind of space, you cannot do that kind of thing. I also have a hatching pond, so I can also hatch what I need. But when I started, I was buying fingerlings and post fingerlings from people to start. Okay, now I've learned how to hatch. My wife also hatches, so we can hatch. I've also tried my hands on other types of fish like tilapia. Okay, and that's a different story, but let's focus on this, on catfish. So once you've done tank size, tank type, water, and then quantity you can do, then you're ready to start. The final thing you consider is the fish food. Okay, fish food now is very expensive, but you need to know which of the fish foods that will help. What you feed your fingerlings and juveniles is not what you feed the adults. So you graduate from feeding fingerling fish food to feeding adult fish. There are many in the market, but you need to know some of them for me are fillers. They just to feed the fish and the fish is full. Some of them have nutritional value to the fish. So when you feed them, you can see it show on the body of the fish and the growth pattern of the fish. Also beware, there are many scammers who will sell you chemicals that they say are fast growing for fish. We tried all those things. They don't even change anything. You're just pouring chemical and polluting your water. So you need to be careful. Then there are also medications that are sold for fish. But over the years, I've learned I don't do medications. I do natural things to help my fish grow. So I've cut out those expensive medications that I do. I do basically a couple of things that I grow around and I use it in my fish farm. So that's the starting point of a fish farm. So when you start there, you stock your fish, then you must sort. The thing about catfish again is that the larger ones prey on the smaller ones. So you must sort according to size. So almost every 2-3 weeks you sort them so that you have the same size in everywhere that they are supposed to be. If not, the larger ones will swallow the smaller ones and you lose fish in that way. And then change of water is important. Fish at that level like clean water. When they are young, they need their water to be clean. So, and why do you need clean water? Because of the oxygen content of the water. If the water is dirty, it reduces the oxygen content. And once there's less oxygen, catfish don't have gills. So oxygen is important to them. Okay. So changing water is important. You have to change water regularly, maybe depending on the acidity of your water. If it's too acidic, more frequently. If it's not too acidic, maybe once a week, once in 2 weeks, depending. But you have to watch. You have to watch your fish. You look at them every day. If they are fast swimmers and they start swimming slowly, then there's a problem. Okay, so they are just like children. You watch them, you know signs that something is wrong somewhere, and then you begin to ask, what do I need to do to solve these problems? Okay, so that's how to start. And if you get it right, I can tell you, in terms of the nutritional value of fish in Nigeria today, it's something that everybody buys. It's something that the market is there, whether it's dry fish, whether it's fresh fish, whether it's smoked fish, the market is there and you can sell. And every state of this country, fish is considered a high proportion of our diet and nutritional diet for that matter.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Now the second question is, from your explanation, it's looking like your target is for the large scale. What about someone who wants to run more like a subsistent farmer, who wants to just do maybe something they can do for their family and take out a little out to make some money.
The question is a good one, because I've had those kind of issues and people have come to me to say, yes, your farm is large, we don't have enough money to do a large scale farm, we just want something that we can eat in the house and then maybe just sell to a few friends here and there. That is also possible. It's possible if you have a small backyard, you can set up a small tarpaulin tank, or you use what we call a white tank, this chemical white tank. If you come here, I can show you. This type of tank is normally used conveniently. Sorry. This type of tank is normally used conveniently for those who want to do it at the back of their house. A tank this size can take about 15 to 20 fishes from small to adulthood, okay? And then you can take your fish from there. So your expenses are low because it's just basically family consumption. So you don't need all those big quantity of fish food and all that. And this is even less tedious to manage.
Yeah.
You still do the changing of water, okay, for them, because now it's a smaller enclosure.
An outlet.
Yes, I have an outlet for water. It has an outlet and it has an inlet. So you still do, you change your water, but because it's a smaller enclosure, you change water more often. Okay, so that's just the difference. But you can put this at your backyard and have your fish. And also for children, it's a good way to teach them responsibility. So you get them to feed the fish when it's due. So they feed in the morning, they feed in the evening. So they know that there's a routine for feeding the fish.
Okay, so let's go back to the larger frame. What are some of the mistakes that fish farmers make, maybe newbies who just got into or are fascinated by, oh, there's high demand for catfish or fish? What are those mistakes that most of them are very prone to making, and how do they avoid some of those mistakes?
The first mistake every fish farmer who is new to this business normally makes, which I also made, is not checking your water. Fish live in water, so the water has to be good for them to survive. So we just assume that because we have water and we put water into a container, we can put fish inside. I've realized that it doesn't work like that. So your water has to be up to standard. So before you even start, no matter whether you're going to do a large one or going to do a small one, go and test the water. There are ways also to bring your water up to level, the pH up to level, using soda ash and so on. But the first thing you must do is to test the water. So that's the first mistake people make. Mistake number 2 is not knowing what the quantity to feed. Now, a lot of people assume that fish are like human beings. So you come to feed your fish and you carry a big basin of fish food and you dump inside. In fact, if you look on social media, you see where they're just dumping fish food into fish ponds. That's not the way to feed fish. You feed fish in measures, because after a certain time, they will stop eating. And once they stop eating, any other food you put into the water rots, contaminates the water, increases the acidity of the water, and then the fish die. So you don't just dump food into. I had a friend, I set up a fish farm for him at the back of his house, and his mother will wake up in the morning, take one big basin, scoop fish food and dump inside. And then she will call me 2 days later, the fish are dying. I said, Mama, what did you do? She said, but I've been feeding them. How? I realized she was just dumping food. And then when we drained it, you could see the bottom was almost like it was muddy, because the fish food has settled at the bottom. Remember, this fish, catfish, people think they are scavengers. They are really not scavengers. They are mid-water eaters. Okay, so they eat the fish food as it comes, mid-water, top water, mid-water. Anything less goes down and it rots and it stays there. So that's the second problem, feeding. Third problem is not sorting. People just believe, okay, I have 5,000 fish, I put them in that tank and I leave them. They will grow. You'll find out that if you don't sort them, the larger ones will eat the smaller ones. You could put 10,000 fish, and by the time you realize it, you only have 5,000. 5,000 have been eaten by the bigger ones. So you need to sort to make sure that smaller fish are separated from the larger fish. If not, they will eat them. Then the fifth problem is viruses. Okay, keeping your fish farm environment clean is important so that you avoid the viruses that may come either from algae or from other things. And once they infect the fish, sometimes it's very, very difficult to solve. In fact, that's what led to my huge loss at a certain point, because I didn't take that precaution, and it was a very big blow to me, but I recovered from it and I learned what to do. Okay? And also, particularly for those who use cement tanks like I do, it's susceptible to viruses. So you must clean it, you must wash it, or you do what I do, I'll show you later. I use tarpaulin to cover them to avoid the issues that may occur. Okay. So those are the primary issues people have.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Now, I see we have about 3 types. I know this one, we are looking at this one for the more specific purpose. We have this, we have this, we have this.
Yeah.
Are there types of or classifications of these fishes here, or you put them randomly, or how do you place fishes in this setting?
Okay, to explain what I do here, you notice that these tanks are, in terms of width, are smaller. So when I get my fingerlings or my juveniles, I start them here.